What's going on, guys? Before we get to the newer news and before I start doing newer videos, let's go back a couple weeks, talk about this fight between Bivol and Sullivan Barrera. Okay. I spoke briefly on the fight before I was, while I was leading to the Wilder Ortiz fight. I know a lot of people didn't see this video, but a lot of people didn't care for this fight because of the Wilder fight. But this is a big fight, and I spoke on it very briefly. And my only question was, I know Bivol was a better boxer. I knew that, all right? I was just wondering how he was going to react getting hit by a bigger, stronger fighter, That was my only question. I knew the kid had skills. It's just I didn't know how he was going to react getting hit. And he got hit a lot in this fight. He got hit more than enough in this fight. And he overseeded my expectations, man. I mean, I thought he was winning throughout the whole fight. But for him to stop him in the 12th round like that, it was like he didn't even need to do that. He already proved to me that he was definitely an elite guy at 175. I mean, I know he holds a title there, but, everybody holds titles nowadays, But now, he basically beat Sullivan Barrera better than Andre Ward did, in my opinion. I don't think Barrera won any clear rounds to me. I think maybe I gave Barrera maybe 1 or 2 rounds, maybe tops. Even those rounds that he won were very debatable. Bivol completely outboxed him, and I'm saying that for a guy that Barrera, like I said, he's bigger, he's stronger. I mean, he's a good boxer himself. I don't think he's as fast, but he's definitely powerful. And Barrera was working in there, It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. He never really bothered Bivol at all with his punching power. He was going good to the body. He was doing everything. He was landing. It just wasn't enough. It didn't really affect Bivol. And Bivol was coming in landing 2, 3, 4 punch combinations at times. Going back to body, back up top. It was a very impressive performance. And he was fighting a Barrera that has been coming off of like some good wins. He got the win against Joe Smith in there. He got a win against Shabransky. It's not like Andre Ward beat him and then he just went into a shell and just started losing to everybody. This guy is having a great, great run. And in my eyes, I think Barrera is still a top 10 fighter at 175. He's still in the top 10. Like if you're gonna get a title shot, you have to go through him. You have to. And he's a tough fighter. He's a tough fighter. So for Bivol to beat him that way, in that fashion, very, very impressive. I love how the division is right now. The only problem I have with the division right now is, are we going to get unification matches? We never got to see Kovalev against what's this guy named Adonis Stevenson. We're never gonna get that fight. That fight is not happening. Okay, Adonis is going to retire or lose to someone else before they actually fight. And then you have Beterbiev, and this the one problem I have. Like all 4 of these guys, except Kovalev and Bivol, which is very popular. I mean, that fight can be made, but outside of that fight, I think Beterbiev is going to be fighting on ESPN. And then you have Stevenson over there on Showtime, and I want to see these fights. But as far as Kovalev, since that's the most possible fight, because Kovalev fought that night against was it Igor Mikulkin, okay, and Kovalev dominated. Kovalev looked as good as he would normally would in a fight. If Bivol and Kovalev were to actually fight each other, it's a good fight. It's definitely, I think Bivol got the best shot against Kovalev than anybody else outside of Andre Ward. I think Bivol, if he were to take him to the later rounds, I think he would do much better when Kovalev slows down, because Bivol didn't slow down much in this fight against Bavera. But if he fights Kovalev, I think he obviously has to worry about his power and his good boxing ability too. I think Kovalev will probably win the earlier rounds, but if the fight continues to go, one thing I noticed with Kovalev, and even in this fight against McCulkin and Ward fight, and even going back as far as the Pascal first fight, I think Kovalev tends to slow down like after 4 rounds. The punches are just not as sharp. Okay, I think when I was watching this fight with Igor McCulkin, he tries to keep the volume high even when he's slowing down, and his punches start looking a little bit sloppy at times. Okay, if you look at the rematch against Ward, I still had him winning in the very early rounds against Ward, but he got tired a lot faster, and Ward looked a lot more relaxed in that rematch, okay, being that he fought him before and he knew exactly what to do. You know, he's going to his body a lot more. I think Ward had to give up a couple rounds early in that fight in order to do what he had to do. It was a brilliant game plan. But even in this fight against Igor McCulkin, where Kovalev is dominating, he started to slow down. And I'm just like, you know, like I said, he was keeping the volume high, but he just didn't look that sharp. And he did what he had to do. But if he were to fight someone like Bivol and slow down a little bit, the fight would really begin like after the first 5-6 rounds. You know, I think that fight, if that were to go down, I think it would be Bivol's fight in the second half of that fight. You know, similar to how it was with the Ward fight, you know, in both fights. So I'm very excited to see that fight. I think it's safe enough for us to get that now. You know, I think Bivol proven himself by knocking out Sullivan Barrera, a guy that was dangerous for Ward when they fought. You know, there was a lot of people that thought Barrera could beat Ward, especially at that time, because Ward was still a little rusty. You know, he was still a little rusty. He wasn't active at that time. I know he had came back and fought Paul Smith, but then it took like another damn near year before he got in a fight with Barrera, and Barrera was very dangerous. So, you know, you give him, you know, for Ward not looking as impressive as Bivol, you can say that. But Bivol proved himself. He proved himself, and I think he's ready to fight any other fighter or any other title holder at the division. You know, I think he's good enough. I think that performance solidifies him, in my opinion. Okay, so I would like to see the Kovalev. I would like to see some unification. You know, I'm still waiting for Beterbiev to kind of fight a top guy at 175. I know he started his career fighting some of the older top guys at 175. And since then, he's been plagued with injuries and stuff like that. I'm still waiting for him to really outbox someone. You know, we've seen a lot of power in him, but I haven't seen him fight a really good boxer at 175. So that's what I'm waiting for at 175 but from Beterbiev. And then we got the Adonis Stevenson fight against what's this guy's name? I can't think of Badu Jack. All right. All right, so that's my opinion. You know, Bivol is definitely a top dog at 175. He's official. You know, this is no overhype with him. He's really a good fighter, and he was able to take the punches as well. All right. So that's it on that. I'll see you guys on the next one.